this tutorial will be about the action phase. And the action phase is that the different major power takes turn and play cards to either spend points to build armies and wage war, or do the event that is written on the card. And they do this in a certain order. So we'll just follow that order, which is the Ottoman starts. So here we have the Ottoman. They have an army here that wants to attack Hungary. So they play a card with the value 3 and use it as, you can either use these points or you can use what the card says, but they choose to use the points, so they can spend 3 points now. First, for 2 points, they build 1 regular army. So now they have 7 regular and 1 cavalry. And then they spend the last point to move to Belgrade with all of their army and start a siege. They may not try to storm the Belgrade in the same increment, so to say. They have to wait until their next turn to play a card. So we'll move on to Habsburgs. They have in Spain and they have in large areas in Germany. They want to play the card All the Alliance, but use the 3 points to build troops. And they can build either regular troops, which cost 2 per unit, or they can build mercenaries that cost 1 per unit. So they build some mercenaries to reinforce their fortifications against France, which they are at war with. We'll move on to the next country, which is England. They have adopted a quite peaceful position up here, standing in London with all the troops. And they want to play a mighty fortress with 4 points and spend them as points. And for 4 points, they can, for example, send a conqueror. And there are only English conquerors with value of 0. And they then put those on the crossing Atlantic zone. So they are sent to the New World to conquer territories for England. The next one is France. They play a card called Landsknecht, and they play it as an event. And that gives them 2 new mercenaries. So I'll take 2 mercenaries and put them in Paris. We'll move on. Now it's the papacy. They own some territory here. I think they'll play the card Caterina Bora, giving them 3 points, for which they first build 1 papacy army and put in Ravenna as a garrison against the French, or to conquer territory. They have 1 point left, which they spend on building St. Peter's construction. On their card, they just move this 1 step. After paying 6 points, they get 1 victory point, and they can do this 5 times. And finally, it is the Protestant. So we move over here. And they play a card, Revolt in Egypt, but they play it for the 3 points. For which they, first 1 point they spend on the Bible. For each point they translate the New Testament here in one language zone, so they do it in the German now, and when it reaches the New Testament is translated and they get Reformation attempts, then they can translate the full Bible. But for the other 2 points, they publish a treatise, and that means they get 2 Reformation attempts. First we can play, since they translated the Bible, we can activate Melanchthon. These are debaters for the Protestant, turn him upside down, and they get an extra point here. And then the treatise, normally you can do two Reformation attempts, and I think we'll just do that now. Now they don't get any extra for Luther or for the 95 thesis, so they have 3 die against Stettin. No, I did wrong. They only have 1 die, they only have 1 area adjacent. Okay, we try Lubeck instead. There are 2 adjacent areas. Roll a 5, and the Catholics has 2 adjacents. They roll 2 6s, so it's not converted. They try with Erfurt as well. They roll very lousy, 2 2s, and the Catholics only have 1 defense. A 2, but then it's equal, so it is actually converted to Protestant faith. So that was the first impulse of the turn. Then the different major powers continue in this manner. We can do the Ottoman, which is next. We start from the beginning again. They play diplomatic marriage for 5 points. The first point they spend on making an assault on this castle or this stronghold, and since it's an assault against a stronghold, cavalry is not counted, normal troops are counted, but halved, so they have 3 dice for normal troops. I think they only get for the best leader, but I'm not sure. It might be that they get for the other one, but we play with only the best one, so they have 5 dice. And they roll a 5, so they beat the Hungarian. The Hungarian have 1 die for the troop and 1 extra for being the defender. And rolls 1 5. So the Ottoman loses 1 troop. But they have taken a key now, Belgrade. So we take their next in-line key control markers. So we see that their income will increase next turn. They will get 4 cards. And we put it here. And they have paid 1 for that. Then they pay 2 here. And 3 to take control over that area. It costs 1 to take control over areas you don't with no defense. And 4, they start a battle in Buda, which have 5 units in it, so they can't hide in the castle. But if they survive, they can retreat into the castle, I think. But I think we stop here because this tutorial was only about what order and how the action phase works.